Hey folks, welcome to episode 41 pre-shoot live with Aaron and Paul at the Fin Factor.
Hello.
We're going to start off a little bit differently. I talked to Aaron a little bit about this. Instead of jumping right into questions right away, we're going to go ahead and give some more folks time to get in. So we're going to go ahead and just kind of push and promote for the first minute or two, and then that will allow more people to jump in, and we'll take your comments and questions at that point in time. Also, remember that we have the super chat available as well. Anything that we collect proceeds-wise, it does not go into these pockets. It goes into this show. We are poor. So, and that being said, go ahead.
Here's the hat. You can see the very big embroidery, the Fin Factor. It looks great.
It stands off the hat really nicely, too. It really does. So,
I've actually gotten comments. I've worn that to stores, and people are like, "Oh, that's a really nice hat."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh, it's for the Fin Factor. It's a YouTube thing." They're like, "I just like the colors. It's really cool."
They're like,
"Oh, okay."
What's YouTube?
I mean, even if you just like the colors, I think we'd be happy.
Yeah, it's Sharks
if you-
colors.
yeah.
We did everything in Sharks colors. This is the women's deep V cut. It's very soft, very nice. It runs a little bit tight and small. Just keep that in mind if you're going to buy one.
Yep.
And here's a shot of the gray shirt, unisex. And the colors really pop on this one, too. I like the gray a lot.
I like the gray a lot. I also like the teal one, which I don't know if we have one here or not, but the teal one is really nice. Just the orange bars, and then it's just in white all the way through, and nice teal shirt. And I can't stress enough, these things are so ridiculously soft.
Yeah.
They're like the softest thing I own, not just clothing exclusively.
I'd
so
say it's my favorite
it's-
T-shirt, but I'm slightly biased.
Okay.
But this is my favorite T-shirt physically, like to feel like when I wear it.
Okay.
It feels nice.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
good.
absolutely. So, and then also, of course, stickers and whatnot. I don't know if I have any stickers on me to show you guys, but they are nice and kind of glossy and everything else. So.
Yep.
Yeah, so there's that. Also wanted to show off the Jonas Donskoy Dawnfather bauble
so
that we
cool.
got. I don't know if this is going to be blurry if I hold it up like that or not, but yeah, really cool. Obviously, in the theme of The Godfather, the movie, and he's petting a shark instead of the cat. So, and I love that they did the Italian like half hand thing. It
Yeah.
should be more like this, but I'll take it. It's close enough. So his chin's a little big, I think.
He's getting there. It's just he hasn't quite.
doing the thing. Yeah. So anyway,
Come to
cool.
me during this game.
All right.
Yes,
I think we've thrown enough promotion your way. I think that's allowed some more people to get in. So, do we have any questions, comments, or anything going on right now?
So far, let's get it. And
Let's
also
get it.
I'm also happy Fleury is out tomorrow. So, I'm guessing Vegas Golden Knights then have a back-to-back because they're playing now. You said
They're
right?
playing.
Yeah.
They're currently playing Edmonton right now. It's
Yeah.
almost done. Yeah, they called up a goalie.
Edmonton?
Edmonton.
They're playing
Vegas.
Edmonton right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
They called up a goalie, so Fleury's definitely out because they called somebody up, and it's back-to-back.
Yeah.
That's good, but hopefully the Sharks can capitalize on it.
I never like seeing anybody go down with an injury, regardless of which team you're on, unless it's the LA Kings. But and Fleury is just such a likable guy. I mean, outside of you take all the gear off and everything, and he's just such a happy, smiley person. And
Yeah, that's
we
true.
had the opportunity to see him at the All-Star weekend and whatnot. And he's just a really kind person, and you just can't you can't hate him.
It's hard to hate him.
I just he puts all the gear on and you can't see his face. Then
I hate
it's
him
easier
on the ice. I hate him.
Yeah, it's easier to
Off
hate
the
him
ice,
because
he's
you
great.
can't see his face behind the
Yeah.
mask and everything, right? But no, he's just a really likable guy, and so I hope that he comes back, healthy and everything else. I just hope he doesn't.
He'll be back for playoffs.
I just hope he doesn't come back for playoffs, but I hope he does come back.
I hope we don't play him
So,
in the playoffs.
yeah.
Speaking of that, we do have a question
Okay.
here. Who do you guys think we will play in the first round?
I still think we're gonna pull ahead of Calgary.
Yeah.
I still think that's gonna happen. I think it's gonna take Calgary. What if they go on like a 2 or 3 game losing streak, right? And I think the Sharks still have a game in hand.
So
No, they're even at
they're
72
even now?
right now. Unless
Calgary's been ahead of us for pretty much the whole season, right?
Right.
Right now we're dead even. So that tells me over some stretch we're playing better hockey than they are right now, more recently, right? So I don't know. I feel like you're right. I feel like we're going to pull ahead of them.
I think it would be fantastic to win the division and then
Yeah.
not have to play and have Calgary and Vegas duke it out, and then we play the winner essentially.
The beat up winner of that
Right.
one. Yeah.
That's going to be a rough series.
And
so game number 80 is actually versus Calgary.
right.
Yeah.
And then
So
Vegas.
and then
is
we play out against the Canucks, the Oilers, and the Avalanche. So
But
if
we
can
play Vegas and Calgary back to back
yeah, that's fine. I'm sure it'll be easy. Right?
next weekend.
The
week from now.
30th. The 30th.
Yeah.
Everybody freaking out about the Flames clinched. The Sharks haven't clinched yet. They should have clinched 2 games ago. No. We're gonna make playoffs. Okay. No, let's not worry about clinching scenarios. We're gonna make playoffs.
They're jockeying for position. That's
Yeah,
essentially
that's
it.
really all it comes down to. So, I'm more interested in seeing those games, the games against Calgary, the game that's against Vegas, to see where we're going to end up in those positions. Not that I think Vegas is going to catch us.
We're playing Vegas and then Calgary Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Sucks.
Is there a 1 p.m. game in there?
But it's like a 6 and a 5 p.m. It's a weird time. It's not 7:30. It's weird. Both nights, both Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, 6 p.m. and 5 p.m. the next
day.
They
want them on national TV probably or something.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that, let's save the panicking about clinching scenarios and all that stuff and jockeying for position. Don't even panic about the clinching scenario. We're going to make the playoffs. But in terms of the positioning and where we're going to land, there's really no sense in getting all up in arms about it right now. And even when we're talking about like 30, 40 games in the season, people freaking out about where we are in the standings and we should be ahead and everything else. It doesn't matter. There's so much more hockey to go. And we're getting down to the wire now. We've got maybe, 10, 11 games left. But we've got games that are against those clubs coming up, and that's a 4-point swing. So that's kind of where I think we should be more interested in where the standings are up at that point. Yeah. So you have another one?
Well, first let me make a note here real quick.
Okay.
People couldn't hear you, Paul. Why aren't you speaking up?
What do you mean?
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Your mic is tuned low, but we fixed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys can hear me now? You all good? Thumbs up if you can, please.
I'll let you know in 30 seconds when it catches up. But Taylor would like to, he's got a point here. So not concerned because the players we have in the locker room, but seems like there is a lot of distraction this week between Evander Kane, Radim Shemek, Jamie Baker. What are your guys' thoughts?
Distraction, I don't know if is the right word. There's a lot of activity.
I think there's a lot of news.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a distraction in the locker room. I don't think anyone's...
Is that because of the guys we have versus...
Yeah, I think... And in 30 seconds, he'll get updated on this. But let me ask, is that question aimed to excuse the last two games? Or is that a genuine concern? Or what is it that you're feeling there with that question? If it's trying to excuse or explain why the Sharks weren't playing well in those two games, I would say probably not. These guys are professionals, and I mean, if Evander Kane can come back and play a game, and that news happened to him, and I mean, yes, they lost that game, but man, he was flying out there.
Yeah.
It didn't seem to. I don't want to say it didn't seem to bother him, but I will say his play didn't seem to be hindered by the news that he had broke out. So I don't think that's something that's affecting the locker room.
It's less about the news and more about the schedule. I think it was a pretty brutal schedule in the last 10 days. They had, 5 games in 7 or 8 nights or something? Like it was
something close, yeah.
It was pretty brutal. So I think that had a lot to do with the tiredness and the sloppiness because there's so many penalties in the 2 games ago against Florida.
Yeah, we had a back-to-back Monday, Tuesday, and then we had a Thursday game, right?
Yeah.
So that's 3 games in 4 nights, and then the Saturday game.
That was the Friday.
I believe it was 5 and 8, and now we got tomorrow, and then it's Thursday. So then a good break, but then Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
It's just rough, man. Whoever did the Sharks schedule this year, it's pretty brutal on them.
It's Bailey. I think Bailey did the Sharks schedule.
I mean, even the first half of the season on the road, those are pretty rough road trips.
Yeah.
So
Brandon Kelsey says believes that if we can hold our blue line, we should be able to win tomorrow.
Yeah, and that's been the story of the season for me, I think.
Yeah.
It's the Sharks go the way the blue line goes. If we're a goal scoring machine. Let's put any doubts about that to bed. This team can score goals. It's can we keep the goals out of our net? And it's not saying Martin Jones isn't capable of it, like we've said many times. It's are we going to limit those chances coming in, making high danger opportunities against us? Because that's not the goaltender's fault for that there's a high danger opportunity. It's the guys around him allowing that play to develop into a high danger chance, and then he's unable to stop it, right? So I think you hit on the head. It's the blue line, really. This team goes the way the blue line goes.
The sloppiness, I think, needs to get cleaned up. I think they didn't look as sharp as they have been. And part of that is who's playing right now, too. Because, Carlson back there really helps out a lot, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Compared to Heat or anyone else back there. So, what's wrong? My sound up?
The set shifted to the right.
Oh.
The whole thing?
Everyone leaned left.
Oh, because I'm leaning this way? Is that why?
I don't know. It's
whatever. Doesn't
I
matter.
think
Keep talking.
super producer Jason is hating on me. That's why. So go ahead.
Is that better?
Here, I'll go back this way.
Quick update from Taylor. It was not a concern, just an observation.
Yeah.
Started playing sloppy around the last few games. Wasn't if it was.
Yeah, and Aaron's kind of raising that point. Go ahead.
It's more of the tiredness in the schedule and some of the injuries and guys getting banged up too. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Sharks clinch and they get a little bit of separation maybe from Calgary. They're going to maybe even rest some guys. I wouldn't be surprised.
And let me also just kind of pat you on the back here. In the very beginning of this show, episode 2, 3, whatever it was, you had said that there were going to be contenders and pretenders in the Pacific.
Yeah.
So remind them who you said were going to be contenders and
Well,
pretenders. This is beautiful.
Back then, I think it was the first 2 weeks of the season.
I think
Maybe.
Aaron said Calgary wasn't going anywhere. I'm pretty
No.
sure.
No, I said at the time Vancouver was up. Because
Edmonton.
Vancouver, Calgary, and Edmonton were above the Sharks in the standings.
Yeah.
Anaheim was still up there.
Yeah.
And then I think it was the Sharks. I mean, the Sharks were probably in the 5th position or something. I said out of all those teams, Calgary to me seems the one that could actually stay up there. Vegas will probably come back, but not be as strong as they were last year. And I don't see Anaheim. Obviously, Anaheim's not as strong, but back then I
Right.
said Anaheim, I don't see them staying because Gibson's the only thing they have, and he gets hurt. And the team is just built. It's too much old regime, and the new guys coming up haven't stepped up.
Yeah.
And then there's Vancouver. They're still too young. They basically peaked a little earlier than they should have, and were playing out of their minds the first month, and then reality set in, and they dropped.
Yeah.
And then Edmonton is just, I mean, they went through a coach. So at the time, I think McClellan was still there when we said it. And then Hitchcock came in. So Edmonton they need defensive help. Their defense is a mess.
His head doubles as a crystal ball. I mean, there's not much more spot on analysis than that. I mean, realistically, like you hit it on the head, like everything.
That just
head.
looking at the teams ahead, like
Yeah.
that's how I felt how the Pacific Division at least was going to go.
It's almost as if there's a certain person that works for NHL Network that should have been listening or have the insights that you have.
Oh, Mike.
I'm just gonna keep hitting on
You know,
you,
it's
Mike.
funny. I listen when I go into work. I listen to NHL Network on the radio.
Yeah.
And he's on a show with, I think it's Scott Laughlin and Mike Johnson in the mornings. And I
Yeah.
always laugh whenever Mike comes on. I go, I bet Paul's just scoring.
Well,
Mike
I
Johnson!
don't listen to that on the radio anyway. So go ahead. You got another one.
All
for
right,
us.
so C-Note wants to know, is Donskoy the reason we lost yesterday? Or I would say a lack of Donskoy.
No.
No, Donskoy. I mean, I think Kevin Kurz had tweeted out he hadn't scored a goal in 25 games or something like that. So it was time for him to get scratched. It happens every now and then for him, and he usually bounces back. So I bet when he's in the lineup, maybe in the next game, he's going to play really well. And that might fuel the fire of everyone saying, see, Donskoy should have played in that game and they wouldn't have lost.
Oh,
Well,
I totally would say that.
Right.
He needs the break sometimes.
Yeah.
These guys are human. Okay, like, and I get sucked into it too sometimes where it's like, man, he's the better. If you were to take skill on skill, one-on-one between Haley and Donskoy, yeah, Donskoy's the more skilled guy, yes. But there are situations where you want Haley instead of Donskoy, and maybe he's only playing a handful of minutes a night. That's okay. Why? Because we have 3 lines of ridiculous depth that we don't necessarily need to have Donskoy in lineup. If the guy's struggling, give him a night off. Let him rest it up. It's not necessarily saying, hey, you suck, you're on the bench, kid, right? It's a chance for him to, like, calm down, recharge his batteries. He talked about
You can
working
watch from the press box, too. It's a different game from the press box.
he was also saying that he took a page out of Evander Kane and Timo Meyer's book when they weren't scoring, taking a look at how they were, like, their highlight reels of themselves, essentially, right? Getting confidence off of that and remembering, hey, this is the stuff I'm capable of, right? So I think it's okay every once in a while, give a guy a night off when he's just not playing well, and DeBoer made it very clear that, you know, he needed to get sat, and that Haley, there's no reason for anybody to slam Haley. He's like, look at the Corsi numbers. He's got good Corsi numbers, and they've only scored 2 goals against that fourth line when he's been in the lineup. It's no coincidence that they won 6 straight games when he was added to the lineup. Go ahead.
All right, so just going to keep moving on. Questions here. Nicholas Egan, thoughts and prayers for EK9
Yes.
and family. Feel like this is the best team he can be on for support, especially considering EK65.
We were talking about this during the week, and I was like, Kane, if he was still in Winnipeg or Buffalo, it's not like he wouldn't get the support. I don't think he'd get as much support or outreach as he is receiving from here. And I think he even mentioned how overwhelming it was, in a good way, that so many people are reaching out. And thankfully, I don't know if this is thankfully, but he has people to confide in with Carlson and Curtis Brown. So he's not alone. And DeBoer, too. That's right. So he's not alone on the team, where everyone's just kind of like, you know, what if it's a bunch of young guys who aren't married and don't have kids, right? And they never went through that. They'd be like, oh, that sucks. Sorry, dude.
Yeah, hey, I'm really sorry about that. But then they can't really connect. So, yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. There's plenty of people in that organization that have had a similar experience at one point in their lives, and they can maybe relate to it. And that doesn't necessarily help him get through the process, but it does offer him someone to reach out to that's within that locker room. And he did have a huge outpouring of support from other players and from the guys in the room and from fans. And I told you that I went to the practice. I actually bought him a sympathy card and I handed it to him. And it was a very different experience from asking someone for like a signature or just giving them some knuckles and saying, hey man, good luck tomorrow or whatever it is. And hey, thanks. When I handed him the card, I have to say he looked directly into my eyes and like very sincerely said thank you. Like he knew what that card was before he opened it up. And it was just a very sincere thank you, and you can see it in his face that he was very thankful to the fans. And in fact, this is the first time I've ever seen him do this. He stopped for every single person, and there was a ton of them that were waiting. He was the last guy off the ice, and he was there for a good 30, 45 minutes after practice ended. Just keep working, because he'd been out for a while. And all these fans hung out and waited for him. And he went to every single fan, signed whatever they had, took however many pictures they wanted, said thank you when people were saying condolences. I mean, it was he stopped for every single person. And that's just not something that I'm used to seeing from Evander Kane, but also from the majority of the guys that are on the team. So it was one of those ways, I think, for him to kind of acknowledge that the fans were kind of rallying behind him. And in fact, when he came out on the ice and when he finally went back into the locker room, everybody was clapping for him. So I think that maybe kind of helped spark that article almost, because there was a really big showing of support from the fans that were right there at that practice for him. So it was great to see.
Right. So best wishes for his family. I mean, like I myself have not experienced this. I've got 2 kids. I know you guys have kids as well, and I couldn't even imagine the pain. So the fact that everyone has just jumped out and been very supportive of him, it like makes me proud as a San Jose Sharks fan to see the kind of support that he's getting. Yeah. So, but moving on from that, not to trivialize it, but just to get through stuff here. Mr. Chango, DeBoer, as I always.
DeChango?
Mr.
Chango. That's the guy's name.
Okay.
DeChango. DeBoer needs to get the 4th line situated. We need to have best players available to play the fourth line minutes. I think this is in response to the Donskoy being scratched. Like, I don't know, or if it's just.
So a lot of people want to make that 4th line a high-skilled line.
Yeah.
And I don't think it should be. I mean, you can. Maybe I think it's a matchup thing. I think it just depends on who's playing well and who's digging deep in those minutes. But, I mean, it's short minutes. You're only getting 8, maybe 10 minutes a night, right?
I'd love to see the difference between the Corsi numbers for Haley and Donskoy.
Donskoy's usually pretty good, isn't he?
I don't know.
I think he is.
I don't know. I'd have to see what they...
But Donskoy on the 4th line, to me, it just doesn't work. Like, he's not a guy that really gets in there and grinds out stuff in the corners, He can, but he's also, I think, more of a fragile player. Yeah. And he's going to get hurt.
See, and here's the way I see it. DeBoer always talks about how he likes to roll 4 lines. I don't think he actually likes to roll 4 lines. I think he likes having 4 lines that he can trust and has a situation that he will always throw them out for. That 4th line isn't just, the leftovers of, the bottom of the barrel free agents that they just needed to fill the roster with, in other words, right? These are guys that go out there, they play a significant role in the team. Melker Karlsson, Haley's played great, and Goodrow's actually not been bad either. So, I mean, they're really that 4th line's out there, and they've been grinding it out. I've seen them play a lot in, like, the waning minutes of a period, which is kind of weird to me. You would think that, especially in offensive zone faceoff, you'd want your scoring touch out there. But he's got them out there sometimes, so he has a lot of trust in those guys. I just think that what he really means is I want to roll my 3 scoring lines. I'll roll those guys. And in the situations where I need to have that grinding presence, then I throw my 4th line out there, right? I don't think he actually wants to just play everybody the same amount of minutes and roll through all of them. And obviously the numbers show that too. There's getting 5-8 minutes a night or whatever it is on the fourth line. So I think what you're going to see more of is those 3 lines that are going to get rolled. And Donskoy sitting on the bench and playing 8 minutes a night. You're not looking for offense if you're playing him that much. So I would rather.
I think it's
Haley
a
out
waste,
there,
and you might as well scratch him so he can
Get a
focus.
rest.
Exactly.
Get a
Get a
rest.
rest and then come back strong.
Like you guys said, view it from the press box.
Yeah.
So then Colin Lee says, does Donskoy get scratched again tomorrow night?
Probably. I mean,
too?
I probably. I would think that he does. Who are you going to pull out to put Donskoy in? Haley? You just heard from DeBoer that Haley's playing great. There's
Yeah.
no, and he snapped at Sheng Peng, I think is the guy.
Really?
I don't know. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, but he snapped at that guy a little bit. It sounded like because he was like tweeting and saying, "Hey, I got cut off by DeBoer," and he's like, something about it's with Haley and what does he bring, blah blah. And DeBoer goes, "You know exactly what he brings. I don't want to make this a constant theme where we're always
It's
talking about
totally-
it. We've talked about it already."
It's so funny because people online on Twitter and stuff they criticize the Jesus out of DeBoer for making those decisions, and people like Shang, I guess, like he's actually going to be asking the questions, and you can tell DeBoer knows what the question's going to be and what he's trying to set up the question and the answer to be, right? And he already sniffs it out, and he's just like, no, we're not going there. Like it's DeBoer's decision. Like to me, a lot of people they get really upset and they want to fire DeBoer. Like I just posted this on Reddit the other day, and I'm like, why are people hating on DeBoer so much?
Yeah.
Because he's not utilizing the fourth line with scoring prowess, whatever. I've never coached in the NHL. I've never coached, so I can't. What he's doing is working. The Sharks' record has gotten better every single year he's been here. He's been to the Stanley Cup Finals twice. His team this year is going to finish with more points than it did the last 3 years, including the year they went to the Stanley Cup Finals. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
But what has he done for the fourth line, Aaron?
So here's the thing. He had said, I know it's not as simple as Haley in for Donskoy. What element does Haley bring to the lineup as opposed to, and this is where DeBoer cuts him off. And DeBoer says, you know what he brings. We're not turning this into a daily story again on the value of Michael Haley. I've talked about it ad nauseum. You see it. You want to ask how important Michael Haley is? Ask Brent Burns. Ask Joe Thornton. Ask him. So, I think DeBoer's tired of hearing about how Michael Haley is useless or what role he plays on the team, and he's just over it. Like, the guy's not bad, fellas. I mean, he's not putting the puck in the net, but he has a role in the team, and he's doing a pretty good job.
And then the whole idea, where it's like, what are you going to do with the fourth line, goes to points you guys have brought up before. And someone here is also saying, our squad is probably the deepest in the NHL. We should be withstanding a schedule easily. I think that's a point to us being like when you were saying 5 games in 8 nights.
Right.
Right. If we have a deep team, also, we should be able to withstand games like this. If we got that deep of a bench. Right.
That's fair. Yeah. Also, Carlson's out. That's a big minute muncher right there. He's getting 25, sometimes 30 minutes a night.
Shimmick's out.
Shimmick has been out.
Who's been a rock
Or
next
will be
to
out.
Who's been a rock next to Brent Burns.
Yep.
Yes, Shimmick isn't Brent Burns, but Shimmick is helping Brent Burns be Brent Burns. Now he's got to figure out another partner.
He's also more physical than
Absolutely.
Ryan,
Yeah.
Joachim Ryan. And so it's a different style of play, and now they got to get used to it because Shimmick's not. I don't think Shimmick's coming back this season.
No, he's not. And Yokes is just...
They kind of alluded that Shimmick might later in the season.
He's not.
But he's not. I mean, for me, if he blew his MCL and his ACL, both of them, and that surgery is ridiculous. And then Joe Thornton, we saw him come back 6 months. We saw him play on it.
Yeah.
But Joe Thornton is not playing defense. You saw Carlson, how he couldn't turn on defense.
Yeah.
The last game he played, and Marchand burned him.
Yeah.
That's what Shimmick's going to be like. You have to be able to turn and physically move and do things as a defenseman differently than you would as a forward.
Well, and especially the way he plays the game. He's a heavy hitting, he's a body. He's a guy that goes out there and slams people. And if you can't turn as you need to.
Right.
You're probably going to rupture something just trying to body check someone.
So somebody had asked on Reddit what the timeline for Shimmick was. They said the All-Star game.
next
They heard All-Star game, and I was like, I thought about it and doing the math. 6 months from now, September, that's when he'd probably be starting to put the skates back on. He's going to condition himself, because when you do that surgery, you lose muscle mass big time because you're bedridden for at least a couple days, right? So it takes a while to get that back. That's 6 months right there. 6 months you're on skates, and now you're working hard, and maybe you start playing the AHL. So he's going to start the Barracuda, I think, around close to Christmas time. He'll be up to speed on the Barracuda. Then right around the All-Star game, which is late January, he probably get called up back to the NHL. So it's going to be a long time.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
No, and that's the thing is our blue line's gotten all beat up, and I was thinking it was nice having Joakim Ryan still on the team, and Tim Heat obviously as well, but the last game that I was there and I watched, and he was like falling on himself, he was making bad passes, he was just so I almost think it's better to try to call up Middleton again and see what he's capable of, because
I don't know. Middleton got 5 minutes his last game.
Cool. I think Joakim Ryan needs to see about 5 minutes the next game. He really did not play well, so I don't know.
I'd give him a couple more games.
Sure, let's hope. Hopefully he warms back up.
I'd say another one game at least.
Hopefully he warms back up, because otherwise it's not looking good.
All right, so someone's saying they would not consider the Sharks. I think you guys mentioned that the Sharks are they're scoring well, but I would not consider the Sharks a goal-scoring machine if the power play is so sloppy. But I'm like, aren't most of their goals coming from 5-on-5 right now? Like,
yeah.
I'd prefer
I'd
more.
take that any day of the week, because you can't guarantee yourself, penalties.
I'd prefer
or
5-on-5 goals.
You sound like me now.
Rather than if they're
listen to you a
scoring
lot.
if they score 3 goals a game and 2 of them are power play goals, then you go into playoffs and the refs swallow their whistles, right? They're not getting as many chances
to go to the NBA. It's James Harden.
Right.
You're getting questionable fouls, but when they're going to let you play near the end of the game, and
you're not
nothing.
getting them.
So
speaking of James Harden, I think he has that beard so he can do this, snap his head back, and then the refs blow.
it adds extra torque.
The Sharks have
But you can
250.
see it more.
The Sharks have 258 goals for. The Flames actually have 256 goals for. The other teams in the league, the only team that has more.
Tampa.
Yep.
Yeah, they're the second highest.
So I have a hard time saying we're not a goal-scoring machine.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if we're not scoring on the power play, okay.
Lately.
I was gonna say
lately.
If you're like somebody I think said that we're 1 for 13 in power play.
There's the Carlson effect right there. Not having Carlson in your lineup. The guy's a power play machine.
Yeah, but we didn't have him last year, and people talked about the Sharks being really deadly on the power play.
Well, they were. That's just how much more deadlier they are when Carlson.
I mean, it's not. Yeah, it's
you
not
have Carlson or Burns, or Carlson and Burns on the power play.
So here's 1 for 13.
Recent, I imagine.
Okay, so that means we're at least 2 for 14, right? Because the stats, the way they do the stats, it's always
Right,
the worst
you
case
cut the one
scenario.
out. If it was 1 for 14, they would have said.
So it's at least 2 for 14, right? Which is not super hot anyway. But I think if you go back a little bit farther, you'll start seeing that number increase in terms of the percentage.
It's like 13%.
Yeah, the what have you done for me lately? Believe me, I get it, because that's really what's going to matter. It's how you're playing going into the stretch. But I just don't think it's fair to say, over this specific time frame that fits my narrative, they suck, right? So we can't call them a goal scoring machine because of this time frame.
I think
when you look at the entire season, they're the second highest scoring team in the league. I just don't have a problem calling them that.
I think people are more upset this week because they could have clinched.
Sure.
And that's been in the news where they can
because
clinch,
they lost,
and they haven't. They lost to Florida.
2 games in a row. Yeah.
So, whatever. They're fine.
So, question.
Macro view. Go ahead.
Controversy. Goalie controversy.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure there is. Go ahead.
Just Colin Lee. Is Jones allowing lesser, softer goals now, in your guys' opinions?
I think he's playing better than he has been.
I think he's playing better than he has been. I also think, and I don't know because I haven't really looked at the numbers, and maybe I can, the splits for the games. I think there's less high danger chances. I could be wrong. And if there are the same amount of high danger chances, then yes, he is just playing better.
To me, I think Jones does very poorly at pucks at his feet, at odd angles. So people on the goal line, they know, and I think teams know this, throwing it into the crease and either getting a bounce off a defenseman or throwing it at Jones' feet at an odd angle where he's not able to get down at the butterfly. And I think it's very awkward for him, and I think he lets in some goals or some good chances because of it. And
But are those second chance goals considered like soft goal then, or is that a high danger?
I think it's a soft goal when they're behind the net and they throw it in.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
like,
off of
like
him
banking
from
it
behind.
off.
Yeah, or they're right along the goal line and they throw it at his feet and he like has a brain fart and can't figure it out.
Kicks it in
Yeah.
himself or something like that.
I think he has a real problem with that, and I think a lot of teams know that. And I feel like a lot of teams
Scout on
do that more often than not against other teams, other goalies. I don't know. I have no scientific fact to back that up. I have
It's
nothing.
all feeling.
It's just
There
when I
you go.
watch
Well,
the
hey,
games, I go.
They did. The question was prefaced with "in your opinions."
Yeah, that's good.
That's my opinion.
So next question here, the Kodo Baggins. What is the gray
What?
jersey behind Aaron from? I really dig it.
Where's the
And
what?
The gray jersey you guys got behind you
Oh,
there.
yeah.
This.
And somebody else.
Thank
Greg-
you for
Greg saying
noticing, and
that's a
thank
tank
you for
jersey.
asking.
There, you want to
That's
hold
great.
it?
Yeah,
I'll
sure.
pull
I'll
it up
hold it.
because I have it on my
Oh,
phone.
it's a McCarthy jersey.
Yeah. So
What?
this is from
Seven?
San Jose Jersey Collectors on Instagram. Give him a follow. It's San_Jose_ you want to type this?
I'll try.
Jersey Collectors, one word. This is the 0809 through 2011-12 Worcester Sharks alternate authentic Reebok jersey.
AHL All-Star.
I bought this on eBay from a private seller, customized with McCarthy by Exclusive Pro Sports.
Nice.
One of the more elusive jerseys in his collection. Searched for over a year to find it.
The
It
old
looks
Sharks
awesome.
patch.
It reminds me of the Rangers. The Rangers have this style of jersey like this. They're alternate, at least from a while ago.
I read this at first, and I read Blue Leader, like if it was like Star Wars or something, and the little blue bow tie. Be a leader. That's what you should do. Yeah, there you go. This is sweet. I like this
Yeah.
one. Wow.
It's really sharp.
Yeah.
Is it heavy?
It actually is heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it an actual game jersey or what is it?
It's an authentic, so I don't think it's game worn.
It's got the fight strap. Ooh, and the cool AHL patch on the back.
I don't think.
There's
I
some
think it
guys
was
that are
said-
in the Discord as a fight strap. There's some guys
No,
in the
the-
Discord that do a lot of collecting like jerseys and whatnot too. I'm sure they're watching this stuff.
Yeah,
and
the jersey we
really
had
enjoying
last
it.
week was game worn. This one is not.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is really heavy.
It's yeah.
This is one of the the Sharks, they wanted to get rid of these stripes
Yeah,
because
the
it
piping
adds a
in.
little bit of weight.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah. Again, thank you for
Cool.
noticing. It's kind of why we're rotating them in.
Yep.
So
So Brandon wants to know how many guys think that Dell will play before the playoffs, considering how well he's been playing.
One game, the one next week or two.
One of the back-to-backs.
we got how many games left again? 11?
10.
10?
No, 10. Sorry, 10.
I feel like 2.
Well, there's a back-to-back this upcoming weekend.
Yeah.
Vegas.
And that's Vegas, Calgary.
If
so
Fleury's not playing, I bet he plays against Vegas, against Subban,
Yeah. Okay.
and then Jones against Calgary.
Okay. I could see that. And then you don't think he plays another game after that?
If there's another back-to-back, I don't know. I didn't
don't
look
think
that
it
far
matters
ahead.
if there's another back-to-back. I think he plays one.
Depends
no,
on
the
schedule.
only back-to-back we got is the Golden Knights Flames.
I think it depends on.
Nope, I lied. Sharks. All right, so we got the Kings
Oh,
on Thursday. and
Dell
then
get that
Friday.
game.
You got the
Think so?
Ducks. It's Kings Ducks.
Jones will want to play that game, won't he?
okay. Jones and then Dell.
They got to have the whole
Dell
narrative.
against the Ducks.
Sure.
It's back-to-back Kings Ducks.
Yeah, I'll play Dell against the Ducks then.
Who would Mike Johnson play against the Ducks?
I think it'd be the other way around. Only because the Kings are so much lower than Anaheim.
You don't think Jones is going to want to play against the Kings?
Yeah.
You don't think so?
It's his former team.
Hello.
Duh.
Good Lord, man.
No,
Well,
he,
I
no,
kept
no, no,
thinking-
he was on the Bruins.
I was gonna say I keep thinking him as a Bruin. He's a Bruin to me.
Right.
I was like Mike Hoffman is a Shark, right?
He was there longer than Mike Hoffman. He was there a full day.
So Taylor asking, what do you guys think about the loss of Shemek?
No, he
at the
wasn't. I'm sorry.
The
Go
loss of Shimmick is brutal.
Well, and I think you guys talked about this too, because the loss of Shemek at this part of the season is brutal. Obviously, you mentioned probably not until after All-Star game. With Ryan needing to step up and showing inconsistencies this year, kind of bad timing to test your depth, even though you have a lot of it. But I think you guys already touched on this a lot, as far as who you could bring in and who you would see.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't trade away Ryan, and he didn't trade away Heed, and that turned out to be
A blessing in disguise.
a blessing in disguise.
Because you
in
have Carlson and Shimmick
in
out.
that, yeah, you've
A
got
righty and a lefty.
It's not even the first time we've had two defensemen out. We've had two
Right.
defensemen out a couple times, and I was saying,
Vlasic and Braun.
it's probably guys, come on, we're not going to have two defensemen out the whole season. We didn't. We just kind of alternated which two sometimes. So yeah, I guess it was good that we didn't trade either one of those guys. Having said that, I don't know that Joachim Ryan is really a blessing in disguise having him out there because he hasn't really played well.
And he played so well last season. That's what's weird.
Yeah.
He's just kind of like Vlasic. Like, he's just not there.
I
Something's
mean,
up.
okay, so he's part of the roster. Then you get Carlson. He's bumped really from the roster. Then Shimmick steps up and takes his place. I mean, how do you feel? Now
Whatever.
you can't even play down in Barracuda because you're going to get claimed.
But
so
to
now you have
me-
to sit there and do practices all the time, and that's it.
But that makes you work harder. As a professional athlete, you have to work harder.
You would think so.
To earn your spot.
You would think so.
Why?
I mean, he's out there after practice, yes, but he hasn't reclaimed his spot.
Healthy competition, I think. And he can't cut it. You can't cut it. He's not going to play.
That's unfortunately, I think right now he can't cut it, and they have no choice but to play him.
Right. So now you got to step up. He played one game.
Let's hope
so
he
far.
does.
One game.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, or is it 2? Yeah, it was Florida when he went down, right? Did Shimmick go down in Florida?
No, I thought it was game before.
Or before Florida?
I think
So he played 2 games.
it was. Yeah, he played 2 games. I remember the first game. He just fell.
Yeah, it was the Winnipeg game
on himself. Yeah.
that he went. Shimmick
Yeah,
went down
because
early in the Winnipeg.
There was an
game.
article talking about the Sharks show their resiliency
Yeah.
because Shimmick went down against Winnipeg and they
So
still
Ryan's
won.
played 2 games.
Yeah.
Maybe give him another 1, 2 at the most if he isn't playing, and then Middleton.
I mean,
Problem with Middleton, you're not going to play him with Burns. You're going to put someone else with Burns.
okay.
Then you're going to have to shuffle things around. That's a mess.
All right, I want to talk goalies again because we got a couple more questions
Yeah.
on it. On a scale of 1 to 10, this is kind of going back to the Jones soft goal thing, but on a scale of 1 to 10, how concerned are you about the soft goals Jones has been giving up? I think, like you mentioned, as of late, you're not seeing them, but would you be concerned about him on a scale of 1 to 10 right now?
He is what he is, and I think he's going to perform better in the playoffs. He always does. He's going to get better down the stretch. I think he's been getting better. People keep talking about the soft goals. They're usually high danger chances that the Sharks are giving up more. So I think he's going to be fine. I think the team's going to be fine. I think people are worried that we're going to get swept in the first round or something. I don't know. So I think Jones is the goalie, and I'm not worried.
Yeah, I'm not concerned with Jones' play. What I'm concerned with is our ability to keep other teams away from him. And that's not to say that he's a liability and we need to protect him with everything we've got. It is to say that I think Jones has his strengths, and I think part of his strengths are that he's very much more of a technical goalie. He tries to be in the right angle, in the right depth, the right position. He's not so much like who is it? Stalock was a lot more of a freewheeling, right?
Yeah.
He'd be kind of out and about.
He'd come out
He's
like
a good
20
skater.
feet.
Yeah, I mean, but he'd be kind of like all over the place, and he wasn't very a very angles on technical type goalie.
More
Whereas I
aggressive.
think Martin Jones is. Yes, he was more aggressive. And I've seen Jones try to do some plays where maybe he goes for that poke check. He tries to get aggressive sometimes, and it's outside of his character, and maybe that's why it looks so awkward sometimes, and it doesn't really work. But I just feel that if we keep the pucks to the low and medium danger areas, we let those ones through, we lay down and block the higher danger stuff, we clear out the net for that higher danger stuff, we don't allow them to make those passes in the high danger areas, that he's going to be just fine. Because if he stays in that technical realm and is angled perfectly like he usually is, he's probably not going to let it in. It's those second chances. It's those times where he has to slide, aggressively from one post to the other, and they're just trying to stop a one-timer.
That's a
Things
lot of
like that. It's a lot to it is. You see other goalies make it, but you see them make it on highlight reels. These aren't everyday run-of-the-mill saves for these guys. It's a highlight for a reason because you don't see it that often, right?
Like the whole scorpion kick style, like
Yes.
or throwing your legs up in the air and you manage to flap it,
And you've seen Jonathan Quick make that
Desperation
save like
save.
5 times with the scorpion kick, but I'm
many
sure
times
there's
does it
lots
come
of other
through?
ones
Yeah.
that have gone in that he missed.
So I wanna-
Jones, he makes these highlight reel saves, right? Count how many of those he makes in a game where you're like, I didn't think he was going to stop that. There's no way he stopped that. And then count how many soft goals. They're going to net out, or he's going to end up on top.
Right. I was thinking about that the other day. Actually, it was like, it's like Jones had 2 goals go in, but he played his butt off, and it was like, yeah, okay, that the two that went in, Bobrovsky might have stopped, and he might have let 5 of the other shots go in.
Yeah.
There you go.
know?
Yeah,
You never know.
Or he'd
But-
help us get bounced out of the first round. So.
right. So let me consider keep on the Jones thing here. Do you guys think that Jones would play against both Calgary and Vegas, depending on the standings, or maybe to give him some more confidence?
Yeah, maybe. I think it depends on where they are in the standings by then.
Yeah,
But I think Fleury's going to be out. He's going to miss it. So
I still think you got to give him he's not going to play 10 or 11 straight games, guys. You got to give him I would think 2 games. So it makes the most sense for me to give him the back-to-backs. Now, yes, Calgary and Vegas, those are two games where you would want to have your best goalie in net.
I think
But-
Dell started in Calgary on that New Year's Eve game where they got
Maybe.
smacked around 7-4 or something.
So you probably don't want to throw Dell into that one then?
I think they already tried that was in Calgary, granted, but I think I still think it's going to go Dell Jones.
So now I got another one to throw in there, and it's not Bobrovsky. Can we bring up Bobo to play against the Kings?
Yeah.
Does he have like a two-way style contract?
You
or-
can bring up Bibeau. The problem is you can't push him back down.
Oh, so as soon
My
as he's
understanding is you can't push him back down.
because somebody
Unless
it
it's
was
an injury?
Rob saying Bobo versus the Kings and Dell versus the Ducks. Like give Jones the weekend off essentially.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. I think I'd rather have a better chance of getting those 2 points in one of those games. And Bibeau, though he's a good goalie, he's also been playing AHL the entire time around. So I don't know, just throwing him into
His first NHL start.
Yeah. I don't know about that one. I think I don't know that you'd be able to push him back down. Let's just leave it at that.
So follow up question on that.
Yeah.
Do you guys see him like Bobo backing up Jones next year versus Dell?
Maybe I could see
You
Dell.
look,
getting
that looks
moved.
like a yes.
I say yes.
I could see Dell getting moved in the summer.
And that's why I
Yeah.
don't see, and not because Dell's bad.
Right.
I think because Bibeau's cheaper,
Right.
and you're not really using Dell that much, right? You're kind of riding Jones. And is there a huge step up going from Bibeau to Dell?
I wouldn't be surprised if Dell gets traded at the deadline or the draft.
Draft.
At the draft.
Yeah, he'll get traded at the draft. I mean, I'm not saying he will. I'm saying if it were me, and I'm trying to create as much cap room as possible to get as many guys re-sign on this team as possible, and any little bit helps, Dell's gone.
Yeah.
And it's not because he's bad, just because he costs a little bit more.
Well,
That's
it-
it.
It's a
He's-
good thing.
yeah.
Like he's good, and we'll be able to get something for him. So I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
All right. So
Can't do.
speaking of contracts, thoughts on the DeBoer contract extension? Heard it was coming soon.
Kurz already reported on this a while ago, and he said as
Yeah.
much on Twitter that it wasn't announced until now. I guess word's just getting out, but it was already a done
It was a
deal
done
like
deal, yeah.
months ago. So it's kind of old news.
Beginning
I mean,
of the
he's
season.
he's the only coach to get us to the
Cup.
finals, right? So,
Yeah.
And he hasn't really done anything wrong. So I'm happy with it. I'm happy to have him back.
People don't want him because he's playing Haley over
because his fourth
Donskoy,
line
right?
is terrible. He
Right,
needs
his
to work
fourth
on it.
line's terrible. If you look at his,
But they're
his-
not.
But the team is second in the NHL, second scoring in the NHL. The deepest.
Is it,
I mean,
I thought it was third in NHL. They're second in the Western. I thought.
Yeah, now
oh,
because
now
Calgary,
because
yeah.
Calgary, but whatever.
We should have sold everybody off at the
I-
deadline.
I tried
Just
to. Nobody
come
would listen to me.
on.
What do you guys? I know you guys talked about this a little bit during the week. Thoughts on the Hoffman banner that was made by a fan?
Yeah,
It's funny.
it's cool.
Whatever.
I like the story behind it. I like that Hoffman wanted it.
I think
and
that.
got it.
Yeah, I think
That's cool.
I think it's awesome that Hoffman saw it and was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I want it."
Yeah.
And he met him after the game and took a picture with him, and he actually posted it on his Twitter.
Well, and it's funny because Hoffman was saying, I like that, the respect from the fan base that's out there in San Jose. That was cool, that they did
Yeah.
that. And it's like, it's not respect, dude. We were just trolling.
Yeah.
But okay.
He got a goal against us though in that game. Huh?
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was Hoffman 68, and then it had, the date that he was traded
Same
to us.
day.
And
It was
then
the same exact
the
day.
same
yeah.
day.
Well, and I wonder if there's guys out there in
cool.
Boston, with the Jones banner maybe.
Oh, maybe.
maybe they'll do it now.
That'd be hilarious, yeah. Jones would probably want it too. But the banner was huge. It covered
Oh, it
like
was. It
4
was-
rows or something
Yeah.
like that when
Yeah.
they laid it out. Yeah, it's crazy.
What grade? I'm. Hold on. Do you guys think the Sharks can win defensive 2-1 game in the playoffs versus a hot goalie? Sure, they can outscore someone, but can they shut down when they don't score that much in part one?
And again, that's what it all comes for me. That's what it comes down to, is that question.
And you got 2 minutes.
2 minutes? We have 2 minutes. Can they do that? With the current blue line, it's looking a little bit iffy. I don't know. I think if Erik Karlsson comes back and is healthy, he's not like the best defensively minded guy that's on the team, although he's not at all bad.
Right.
But he is a possession monster, which keeps the puck out of your zone. So I think it all comes down to that, and it's a great question. And obviously I know what I hope the answer is, but I don't know.
I think other teams are going to have a harder time with the possession numbers, not having the puck as much, and stopping the Sharks from scoring.
All right. Speaking of scoring, what would you guys give Nyquist so far as a grade? This guy saying he's going with a C.
What are you gonna say? Because what do you?
I was gonna say a B.
Okay, I was gonna say BB minus. So I think
Yeah.
we're all in the same realm here. Yeah, we're all in the same realm. So yeah, he's been a good addition.
I think C's a little harsh.
Yeah, it's you have to remember he's joining a team after the deadline here, at the deadline really.
Yeah.
So it's not like Erik Karlsson comes in, has a few bad games, and then he kind of gets the flow of it, and then he gets injured. But I mean, he was getting into the flow of it, right? With Gus, it's he's still
getting
learning
his
the ropes
chances
here. So
though. He's getting his chances.
I was saying you guys are done.
Yeah.
You don't have to stop talking.
Oh.
After this point, go ahead and finish.
yeah, no. I feel like it's a little harsh to give him a C, just because.
How about a C plus?
He's C plus, just because he's he's new to the team. He's got to take time to gel. I think come playoffs, if he starts gelling right before playoffs, man, it's going to be hard to stop.
As that chemistry
really going to be
goes.
hard to stop. Yeah. Go ahead.
This is our fantasy hockey trophy that I've talked
Your.
about on the show.
I don't.
Sorry, my fantasy hockey trophy. I'm the commissioner of the league, so I am the protector of the cup. And this thing needs to get shined up a little bit. But
Don't raise it.
yeah, I can
What are you
touch it
touching?
all
Don't
I want.
touch the
My name is on the cup. I can touch it.
He lifted it.
2010. My name's on the cup. Anyway, the finals are next week. I was thinking if you guys are interested, I don't know how many of you. Stop it. If you play fantasy hockey, that's gonna blow up now. I think we'll start a league next year if there's a lot of interest. And I'll
That'd be cool.
be the commissioner, and I think
Yeah.
it'll be fun. We can talk about it every week. Do a weekly update on the standings.
Probably a separate show that is for fantasy though.
Well, no. Just a quick.
Okay. All right.
Let's check in on the fantasy.
Actually, I think that'd be fun. I think
Yeah.
most people would appreciate a separate fantasy show. That'd be cool. If
not
you would
sure if
like
we'll get
that-
a cup like this, but we'll do
if you would
something.
like that though, let us know, and,
Yeah.
and maybe we'll noodle on that one.
and
I
maybe
probably
we'll
still
get
won't-
Paul to play.
Oh God! The last time I did that, I was literally looking at the stats and
As you
who's
should.
going to be jumping in and
As
out of the
you should.
lineup on a every hour basis. Like it was insane. It took over my life. So probably will not be doing that again. And there was no money involved in that, by the way. And I was still obsessed over it. It was nuts.
Maybe we'll do a winner gets some kind of swag or something, or
Yeah.
or come on the
We'll-
show.
we'll
Maybe
figure-
they can come on the show.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
In any case, we are done with this pre-show. So let's see. Tomorrow we'll have it out, right? Episode 41, and we have some really good topics and everything. So from them that maybe was in the comments that maybe we could add into the show. But if you do have something that you would like us to talk about, this is one of the things we always say. Let us know if you have a
Yep.
topic, because we'd love to handle it. And I mean, obviously these lives, I love doing it because I get to hear your guys' thoughts, and we get to kind of go back and forth on these topics and whatnot. It's just really a lot of fun for us. So if there's something that you thought was a brain tingling type question that you want to have in the show that you think other Sharks fans would want to know about, please go ahead and let us know about it, and we will try to add it in for the next time.
Yep.
Say. In any case, thank you to you guys for tuning in, and we will see you guys, I guess, tomorrow.
Yeah.
So cool. Thanks a lot, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.